So this map is here to bring clarity, basically, on levels of consciousness which are totally connected with energy, with dimensions, with self-identification. And every state of consciousness comes with a package, you could say. There's a new way of seeing, a new way of acting, a new way of being. So each time we shift to a higher state of consciousness permanently with self-realization, then comes through a new beginning, a new life. Each and every one of you can know exactly where you are at, can know exactly what are your next steps forward into a deeper you. Okay, so this is scientifically proven through kinesiology. It is muscle testing, and you can actually calibrate your level of consciousness, your level of realization of what you realize yourself to be at this moment. You could also calibrate your nervous system, the mind, the heart, the soul. So there's various ways of how you can precisely know on which vibration consciousness you are at. It's a map, it's a GPS of truth, of clarity, of bringing truth to what truly is. Many times in the spiritual world, we have experiences, and experiences come and go. Many times we want to hold on to what we have experienced in the last meditation or the last workshop, but we're not speaking of experience. We're speaking of something deeper. And presence is beyond your senses. Presence is beyond elements, like a pre-sense. What is before, on something deeper beyond object, on something deeper beyond mind, thought form, energy, chakras. That is the inquiry of today. What is before every movement, every sound? So that is an inquiry, it's questioning. It is self-inquiry, questioning to a deeper truth. To a deeper truth, which is actually not something out there, it's actually even closer to you. Even closer to you. Because many times there is an inner search. Yeah, we are searching for something. There's an inner search, seeking for truth, seeking for fulfillment, for love, seeking for bliss. There's a seeking, there's an energy within that strives humanity. Yeah? And that actual seeking, that actual wanting something of which you don't already have, is the greatest obstacle. Is the greatest obstacle. The search itself is the greatest obstacle. Because when you create search, wanting something in the future, you are creating distance. Yourself is creating distance. So the inquiry here is to drop that distance and discover what is already here. What is already permeating, what is already shining through. And here, we're not speaking about what books you've read about enlightenment or godhood, or I'm speaking your direct experience. What is your direct experience? Who are you? Who are you truly? Because if you can bypass the distance, if you can bypass the mind stream, which is total, the mind stream is in it's functioning through, unless you bypass it and see what is already here deeper. For this, the mind actually can't be right here. It can't be present, because the mind is the obstacle. So if you are trying, even right now, to figure it out with the mind, it's not possible. This can't happen, because the mind is too small compared to your being. Okay, so your being, which is presence consciousness, beyond your senses, already here, nothing to process, nothing to understand. There's nothing to do with anything, because it's already before everything. Your being is already before everything. And we will have a meditation as well, step by step, and I will guide you into your being. Actually, it is not your being, because this is nothing personal. You know, the being is absolutely nothing personal. It has nothing to do with what you know of yourself. It has nothing to do with what you have learned up to this moment. And for that requires stillness. That is number one. So the gateway to access presence, to access the real present moment, is for you to stop. That is number one, to stop. Let's try a little practice right now. Can we stop? Like truly stop. If a thought comes in, just stop it. Stop. Energy, just stop everything. I can describe this like pulling a handbrake. And try to hold that. It can be very intense. Try to hold that. The mind tries to go somewhere, looks around, or this or that, a thought comes in, stop. And you will see again, the mind comes forward, stop. The mind wants to understand what I'm talking about, stop. Or the mind could be justifying or judging something. Pull it back. Pull that back. Allow the momentum of the mind to slow down. If you don't pedal it, it will slow down. You can see it, you don't have to touch it. You can see the feelings or energies, you don't have to touch them, you can see them only. So when there's a fire burning, you don't put your hand in it, you simply see it. Then the next step would be to slow down, allow this momentum, the momentum of the mind to slow down. I'm not speaking of just the thoughts here, I'm speaking of the whole energy system too. A total stopping. Even if the mind is trying to understand, we can surrender that as well. The next step would be to find your inner stillness. Right now I'm just explaining part by part, and we will all together deepen into the present moment. These are little practical tools that you can utilize at any time. So finding your inner stillness. You can only find your inner stillness when you stop. So I'm not inviting any journey here. This is not a journey. We're not journeying anywhere into any dimension. No. I'm speaking of the present moment, the real present moment. And from that stillness, we will shift to the space, your inner space. So even if your eyes are open or closed, it doesn't matter actually, but can you shift to that space? The space that is within at first. If you feel busy still, it's okay. What would help is to step behind. Like take a back seat. Imagine you are usually the one driving the car, in control, or trying to be in control. But now, take the seat at the back. Lose your control. Just for the sake of investigation. What would happen if you had to lose your control? There might be fear arising, because many times we don't want to lose control. We're afraid of that, so we hold. We hold all our knowledge, we hold all our identification with the familiar self. But when you sweetly, softly surrender, what happens? There's a sense of dropping or falling. There's also a sense of releasing some form of density. This is the pathway to liberation. The pathway to liberation is to stop. Stop the search. Stop everything. And discover what is already here. Let's take a few moments in silence. Let's all shift to the breath. Into your spine. And also to notice the space around your breath too. And the space around your heart. Soften yourself from inside. If you feel any tightness, contraction, let it go, relax within you. Come to a place of comfortability, a total relaxation, but yet still here right now. Your breath is your anchor point, so you can return to your breath anytime if your mind wanders away. So as we center ourselves within the spine and bringing our attention into the space around the spine and around the heart, soften, step back, and open the space. Expand your inner space, shifting your attention to the space and not any object. Within that space, rest. Do nothing. Do nothing but rest. Finding your inner restfulness within that space itself. And expand. Try not to sleep. Stay with me, because we are slowly entering the present moment. We are not dozing off. We are not traveling anywhere. We are right here. Now shift your attention to the space outside of you at 360 degrees. Bring attention to the environment in that space and expand that 360 degrees. And see how far you can expand. If you feel any edges, any contractions, soften that area and softly surrender. Step back and expand the space. Stay relaxed. The more relaxed you are, the better it is. You can bring some attention to the stillness within that space and silence, the inner silence. And can you rest for a moment within that silence and stillness in that expanded space? If you notice your familiar self still trying to control, let her be, but shift again to this new discovery. So here the doing drops. There's nothing to do, just only to rest and bringing forward the being which is so vast. You could also say it's the unfamiliar you, the unfamiliar you, because it holds no past. It is eternal. It is a being encompassed in peace. It is a being of peace. It is a being that is already perfect. Already perfect. You could also connect and visualize a violet indigo light that already surrounds you right now. Violet indigo light. It is the light of presence and theta vibration. It is the light vibration consciousness that heals, transmutes any lower density. Here the coin flips. You're not the one trying to fix yourself or work on yourself, but your being, when it comes true, it is right here, already harmonizing you, already bringing balance within your chakras, within your spine. Your whole energy field harmonizes itself. But you have nothing to do. Allow your being to be here as this expanded space, as this being of peace, this being that is already perfect. You can only see perfection from presence. Beyond any movement, there is your being, holding all of it. So in presence, everything is allowed. If a thought arises, you are present with the thought, and the thought flows away, just like the wind. If a feeling arises, it comes, it goes, but you are not the one coming and going. It's a simple practice. It so simple that the mind can't grasp, because the mind is so complicated. But yet, the present moment is so simple. So stay with this violet indigo light. Allow it to transmute any density. Soften yourself. Step back and surrender to your being, which is already here. And for a moment, allow all of you to disintegrate, just like melting away all these layers of density into that violet light, into that space, that vast space. Nothing remains. Nothing remains, but only that space of peace, presence, harmony, and inner, outer perfection. There is no inner and outer. It is only perceived by the mind. In a higher reality, there is only one space. No inside and out. And let's take this practice a little bit closer to you. Who is seeing the space? Who is witnessing this vast space? Don't use your mind. Don't use knowledge. Use your direct experience. Who is aware of this vast space already here and now? What comes before space? And stop. Stop one more time. Pull that handbrake and stop. What is even more instant? What is even more here, right now? This is inquiry into the truth of who you are. And from here, we are still here, all of us. But we could say, let's slowly return. But there's nowhere to return. And as you're coming back, take some great attention to notice the depth, to notice the texture, and to bring with you this vast openness. Many times when we come back from meditation, we open our eyes and we come back to the familiar self. We miss a very important part of integration. So as you are returning, so to speak, have heightened awareness on your return. Bring with you your meditation. Bring it right here. And even if you open your eyes, take a moment to look with the eyes of the present moment. With the eyes beyond your personality, beyond your character, beyond of any achievements, of any past. Just look with the eyes of fresh, new moment. Because every moment is fresh, totally. If you can truly live 100% in the real present moment, your past is absolute. There is a full transcendence of karma, right here, right now. But presence first needs to be realized. What are we speaking of? And then it takes, you could say, time to mature, to get to know presence, until it fully becomes you. presence deepens and expands with maturity. You could get a glimpse of presence at first, but by more practicing presence, when you are ready, there is a realization. And from that realization, it's a beginning, a new beginning. A new beginning to the path of liberation. This is why presence is so important. Because it is your foundation. You start from here, your foundation is here. And this is the only way out of duality. We are very familiar with duality, with the good and bad, with the light and dark, with the ups and downs, with man and woman, with all of these dual energies. But presence, it takes you beyond. It brings you eventually to non-duality, to see beyond dual energies, and yet you are not touched. You see, but you're not touched. Because you have completed those dual energies inside. And that can happen through presence.